Jim Longworth. Welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll tackle all sorts of controversial issues, but between now and then, some great guests and important information coming your way. We'll talk about the arts, for example, and see some of the big performances and lectures coming up, both at the High Point Theater and UNCG. We'll also talk about Venture Cafe and the great things it's doing to advance business and innovation. All that and much more. But first, we start out talking about weight loss and weight management. And we have an expert in the house who's going to help us with that topic. Next to me is Dr. Jessica Catherine Bartfield with the Weight Management Center at Wake Forest Baptist Health by way of Illinois. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, you told me off camera you're from Illinois.
Yes.
Now, give us an overview of what the Weight Management Center does.
Sure. So the Weight Management Center brings together everything that's been proven to help patients achieve successful active weight loss and, more importantly, long-term weight loss maintenance. We have all the components all in kind of a one-stop shop.
Okay. Now, how does a medical weight management system differ from some of these heavily advertised programs that you see celebrities on? You know, try this, get these meals, do this. And I'm not trying to disparage any one thing, but
Sure.
but how does it differ with a medical base?
So first and foremost, we utilize treatments and tools that have been proven to be safe, to be effective, and we utilize a wide range of these. So we have kind of three different aspects of our program that I think set us apart from essentially any other program in the country. One is we offer a team-based approach. So we don't
What
address...
does that mean? I didn't mean to interrupt you. What does that mean,
Sure.
team approach?
So most programs, weight loss management programs, will try to address one area of weight loss. So people think, okay, I'm going to focus only on how I'm eating, or maybe only on my activity. We take all the different components that we know need to be addressed for successful weight loss and put them all together. So you hire essentially a team to help you through that. That includes a dietitian, it includes a medical provider, it includes an exercise specialist, and it includes behaviors to really help our patients achieve that long-term behavior change.
Now, obviously, we hope to lose pounds when we get help from you. But there's also, the weight loss isn't the only objective though, right?
No, and actually one thing we say over and over again with our patients is it's not just about the weight. Our patients transform their lives. So as they're losing weight, they achieve improved health benefits from this. They reduce their risk of future disease, or they're actually improving diseases they have. Prediabetes, diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea. Their backs feel better. Their knee pain improves. And more importantly, their quality of life improves. They feel better. They're more active. They have better energy. They can help take care of their family and friends and loved ones.
It's a very, very holistic way of doing that, and I appreciate what you're doing. You also, though, have that option of surgical procedures too, right? Because it's a medical facility.
Yes, exactly. So our center is interdisciplinary, meaning, again, we take all aspects that can be successful treatments for obesity, and that does include surgical options as well. We have a fantastic group of surgeons that we work with. And some of the surgery patients, even after surgery, cycle back to the medical program to help achieve other goals. So it's a very dynamic relationship, and we really just want to offer the patient whatever treatment's going to help them the best.
When I meet a doctor, a surgeon, a physician for the first time, I always like to sort of ask them very briefly to tell me what or who influenced them to get into this field. So I know it's not going to be the St. Louis Cardinals, even though you love the Cardinals. What influenced you to get into medicine?
I was lucky enough to work with a fantastic physician as a medical student who was in this area essentially before this field of medicine really even became a strong field in its own. So she was one of the early pioneers to work with patients, and seeing how those patients' lives changed and health improved by losing weight, it fascinated me, and I was eager to make a career out of it.
Did you get a chance to tell her what she meant to you?
I have actually in the past, yes.
Good, yes. Good for you. Up on screen, wakehealth.edu/weight management. Check that out or call for an appointment, 336-716-6099. That information is up on screen. Dr. Bartfield, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Will you come back sometime?
Absolutely. Anytime.
Right. Okay. Hopefully I'll lose weight by that time. We'll be right back. Today, I'm always glad when we can have a guest on from my alma mater, even though UNCG doesn't claim me. They do claim this gentleman who's with me. We're going to meet him right now. Bruce McClung is Dean of the College of Visual and Performing Arts at UNCG. And as I welcome you to the program, because we haven't met since you become dean, I have to ask, because people are going to see your name on the screen and they've seen it in the newspaper, whatever. You use all lowercase letters, and you do, that's not an accident. Why do you do that?
Started in 1978 in high school, a poetry writing class in my junior year. Became enamored with the poetry of E.E. Cummings.
Right.
And so it's a tip of the hat to
To
E.E.
E.E. How about that?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, what was your first brush with the arts? And you have everybody under your umbrella now, so I'm just curious. I mean, was it a school play? Was it a piece of music? What was your first brush with the arts?
I think my first brush was at home. My mother played the ukulele.
Okay.
And my dad was kind of a hi-fi nut who was always buying expensive speakers and audio equipment.
Right. Playing records.
Playing records.
What kind of records did he play?
Tijuana Brass.
That's, yeah.
A lot of ragtime.
Okay. Now, you came from, most recently from University of Cincinnati, great university, and you did great things there, but I have to ask, why were you drawn to UNCG?
I was drawn to UNCG because of the interdisciplinary quality of merging art, dance, music, and theater in a single college. I was also attracted by the connections that CVPA has with the community.
Absolutely. I want to do something, sort of do a quick rundown, or as they used to say in the old game shows, a lightning round. I'm going to mention an event or a performer and a date, and you give me like 10 seconds about that performer and educate us. Nick Cave, September 26th.
Nick Cave is an experimental conceptual artist who makes fabric sculptures called sound suits. He made his first one in reaction to the Rodney King beating, and since that time has made over 500 sound suits.
Anderson and Rowe, October 1st.
Anderson Rowe are a dynamic piano duo that play athletic performances, have outrageous videos on YouTube, and are really a dynamic force in classical music today.
Camille Brown on February 8th, looking ahead.
Camille Brown is a phenomenal choreographer. She choreographed Once on This Island that's playing on Broadway. She's also the choreographer for Porgy and Bess that's opening the season at the Met. She and her dancers will be here at the UNCG Auditorium.
That's just fantastic. Renee Fleming, the great Renee Fleming, February 26th.
Renee Fleming is probably the world's most famous soprano right now. She sings in all the leading opera houses of the world, and she'll be here singing in the UNCG Auditorium.
Ann Hamilton, I don't know anything about Ann Hamilton, March 19th.
Ann Hamilton is a conceptual artist who does large installations that involve sound and video. She was commissioned to do a $1 million installation in the subway station under 9/11 when it was rebuilt.
Oh, okay. And David Diggs, did I pronounce that correctly, April 9th?
That's correct. David Diggs originated the roles of the Marquis de Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson in the Broadway musical Hamilton. Also has a recurring role on Blackish on television.
Great show.
And is also part of the experimental hip hop and rap group Clipping.
Now, is there admission charge for all these things that we mentioned, the various concerts and things that they're doing?
The 4 concerts there is a charge for. This is part of the University Concert and Lecture Series, which began in 1913 and brought such people as Eleanor Roosevelt and David Frost.
That was my year when I was there, 1913. No, that's no, that's so. Well, I want to put up that since you mentioned UCLS. Let's put up a couple things. www.ucls.uncg.edu. Also, vpa.uncg.edu. I want folks to check out that website particularly too, to learn more about what's going on. I just can't tell you how much of a pleasure it was to have you here. Thanks for making the drive over and being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And let me know if you ever decide to capitalize your name, because that would be a news story.
You'll be the first to know.
I won't understand the motive, but I'll be the first to know. Thanks, Bruce. I appreciate it.
Sure.
We'll be right back after this. All right, today, always glad when the good folks from Venture Cafe can stop by, because the number one question when people haven't tuned in before, and shame on you if you haven't, they'll say, what do you mean Venture Cafe? What is that? Do you eat there, or what is it? We're going to explain that with our 2 very special guests. On my right, she's been here a couple times before. We always love to have her. Karen Barnes is Executive Director of Venture Cafe Winston-Salem. Karen brought a special guest with her today. Asani Mitchell is Community Manager for something called Access Center for Equity and Success. We're going to find out about that too. Karen, remind everyone first what Venture Cafe is and why having it is so significant.
Absolutely. Well, it's always a pleasure to be here and to talk about Venture Cafe. When we started Venture Cafe here about 2.5 years ago, we were number 6 in this global network, and we are now one of 11 in the world. So in 2 years, the network has about doubled,
Wow.
which is really exciting. And we have new outposts in Sydney, Australia, Tokyo, Japan, Bilbao, Spain, Warsaw, Poland, Providence, Rhode Island, and Philadelphia.
And
just
people
in this
come
last
in
year.
and what do? They exchange ideas.
They do. So what we are a nonprofit that really exists to connect entrepreneurs and innovators with each other and with the resources that they need to start, build, grow, and scale their businesses. And we do that through our Thursday gatherings. So each week from Thursday from 5 to 8 at Bailey Power Plant, we have essentially a miniature conference every week where you meet new people, you exchange ideas, you learn from the programming, and then you go off and make big things happen.
It's just great. It's such a great, exciting atmosphere when you go over there and feel that. People should go over there and check it out on Thursday nights. Hassani, I want to skip over to you for a second because this is the first I've heard of the Access Center. Tell us what the Access Center is all about and what do you offer?
Sure, and thank you so much for having me. So the Access Center, it's a joint effort between Venture Cafe Winston-Salem and our partner organization, Piedmont Business Capital. And what we do is we are an independent minority and women-owned business resource center. So if you are a minority, an African American, an Asian American, Hispanic, or Native American, or a Caucasian female, and you have an existing business, a business that's scalable, what we do at the Access Center is we do 4 key things. We connect these businesses to capital or money via microloans, working capital loans through our partner, Piedmont Business Capital.
Right.
We also assist with minority business certifications. So there are certain certifications that businesses can get that will help them compete and obtain certain contracts and bid opportunities.
Yeah, because I know when I started my business 120 years ago, whenever it was, I mean, you don't know anything. You're not, in some ways,
Right.
You're not really trained for it. And
Right. So we're positioned to be able to help these businesses with what they don't know. So not only the access to capital, access to certifications, but one unique thing that we do at the Access Center is contract matching. So what we want to do is be able to interface with public entities, private entities, whether it's in Winston-Salem, the Triad, or regionally, and connect these minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses with these contract and bid opportunities.
Now, this is a fairly new thing, so do you have any idea yet of, have any feeling, a gut feeling on the kind of success you might be having?
Well, absolutely. So we launched in June, and since our initial launch, we've actually deployed a $100,000 working capital loan through the Access Center.
Wow.
Yeah.
Real money.
Real money.
Real money that these folks probably wouldn't have gotten. You know?
Exactly. And every situation is different, but we want to be that resource. We've also had our initial Black Business Week, where we brought in the Department of Revenue. We brought in, we've had podcasts, live podcasts at the center.
Now, are you meeting in the same exact area where Karen's got Venture Cafe, or were you sort of a spinoff? How did that happen, Karen?
We actually have additional space in Bailey Power Plant for the Access Center, so we have a beautiful suite where we can hold meetings, we can have these coaching sessions, we're doing special programming, and Hassani is in charge of running the Access Center.
I just think this is great. I want to put up a few websites before we lose time here. www.venturecafewinstonsalem.org. Find out all sorts of great information there. Please do that for a radio listening audience. VentureCafeWinstonSalem.org. Also check out innovationquarter.com and a special, and also accessws.org. That's what we want you to check out too to learn about what Hassani's doing. Special thanks and a shout out to David Mounts, the good folks at Inmar who suggested this segment, have been very supportive of Venture Cafe and all those things. And Inmar.com is the website to check out all the great things that David's company does. To Karen, to Hassani, thanks for what you do.
Thank you, Jim. Pleasure to see you again.
Good job. Same here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, I was looking over my High Point Theater passport, which you can get just by calling the box office, and they'll even mail you one. But next to me is our good friend Dave Briggs, the world-famous director of the High Point Theater. Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you, Jim.
Before we get to other things, we've got a lot of things we want to cover, but very quickly, somebody asked me the other day, hey, I hear about High Point Theater, I see Dave on the program. Is there a place to park? A lot of times you go places and you can't find parking, and is there a charge for parking?
There is no charge for parking in High Point. So when you come to the theater, we use the Showplace parking lot, which is directly across what we call Mendenhall Terminal. It's a glass-covered area where we have buses during Furniture Market. Or the City Hall lot, which is across Hamilton Street. And if you're looking at Googling it up, we're at 220 East Commerce Avenue. It's right across the street from that. plenty of parking, and it's almost all free unless you park in the garage, and that's your choice to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that people know that they can purchase season tickets now, right?
They can.
Now,
Yes.
but didn't you send me an email or something about something called an early bird special? What is that?
Yeah, we've got anytime you purchase 4 or more shows, you get a discount. But we also are home for the High Point Community Concert Association, and they have their own series that we have enclosed within our series. And it includes this year Andes Mata, which is a wonderful
Right.
panpipe group from that area.
That's September 22nd.
September 22nd.
Yeah.
And then we have the Vienna Boys Choir coming this year. Gilbert and Sullivan Players, the New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players doing something called I Have a Little Twist, and the Raleigh Ringers. So those 4 events are part of the Community Concert Association package. And if you get those before the end of August, the tickets before the middle of September, the tickets are only $100 a piece.
Okay. Now I want to backtrack just a second.
Sure.
Just in case somebody does not go with the early bird special, but you say, hey, there's several things I want to see here. Let's go back to Andres Montes. That's September 22nd. That'll be a great show.
It'll be great. These are 4 musicians. They play about 36 different indigenous instruments from Peru and the Andes Mountains. The panpipes, the guitars, they're remarkable.
On October 10th, the Good Humor Men.
The Good Humor Men are 3 wonderful comedians. Pat Hazel is kind of the lead on that one particular show, and then there are 2 other comedians that work with him, and it's just fun, clean comedy.
Yeah, November 1st, Lee Rocker.
Lee Rocker was with the Stray Cats. Of course, they are Grammy winners, and he's an amazing bass player. So he actually sort of dances with his upright bass. Going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to Lee.
A few minutes ago, you mentioned on the early bird special, part of that package is the Vienna Boys Choir. But let's say somebody is going to be traveling, and this is maybe the one thing they can see. They can't do a package yet, but they say, when is that? It's November 3rd, the Vienna Boys Choir. What a great group.
It's a great group. It's a Sunday matinee show. Go to church, have lunch, come to the theater. Can't beat that.
That'd be great for the whole family. On November 7th, I think it is, Joshua Kane.
Joshua Kane is a one-man show, and he does a show called Gothic at Midnight. And if you are into the horror genre, it's a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe, a little bit of
Wow.
Pierce. It's a little bit of comedy, a little illusion involved with it as well. And I tell you what, he has a voice that you're going to want on your voicemail.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you what, he's remarkable.
Is it scary?
He can be pretty scary.
All right, and then you also mentioned a while ago in the early bird package special that people can do, the Mamma Mia thing is going to be, I think, in that. That's October 3rd through the 6th, and everybody seems to know those tunes, don't
Well, I mean, what a great, ABBA did such a good job with that album, and they did a wonderful job with the musical, and this is the High Point Community Theater.
Right.
And so they've got a 4-event season of their own, and Mamma Mia kicks off their year.
As we look on screen, highpointtheater.com is the website for our radio listening audience in WSJS, highpointtheater.com. The box office number is 887-3001. As David told me off camera one day, you can also get your passport, this beautiful passport that tells you all about all the shows. They'll mail it to you, or you can go online and look at all the different shows. And very quickly, we have a couple seconds left. Do you save money by buying tickets online versus going to the box office versus calling you?
You actually save money if you call the box office, because there's no convenience fee.
All right, Dave Briggs, thanks for everything.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Today, time for the round table. On my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, the great award-winning broadcaster journalist. Next to him is B.J. Barnes, former sheriff of Guilford County, who used to force his prisoners to watch Triad Today. And we appreciate that. And Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants, who does great work worldwide in economic development and helping people. Guys, let's get to a very serious topic. Former Vice President Joe Biden, who's the front runner for the Democratic nomination, said last week, quote, "Racism is the white man's problem," unquote. Guys, do you agree? And does that mean there are no black racists? Ogie Overman.
Well, I mean, we all know what Joe means when he
We
does
never know
these
what Joe
things.
means.
I mean, yeah, we do. It's one of those Uncle Joe-isms. He does it, you know, those gaffes he's famous for. But really, you know, the oppressor does, and the oppressed. I mean, it's two different.
So you agree with him in general?
Yeah, of course.
BJ.
No, I don't agree with him. Look at your Louis Farrakhan's, your Jesse Jacksons, your Al Sharptons. I mean, you can see it. Hate is hate no matter who does it and what color they are.
I don't think Jesse Jackson hates anybody.
Or Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
I don't know Al
Y'all
Sharpton.
wouldn't?
Well, no, you can't say that they're not racist because Ogie doesn't know them. But anyway, Reverend Jackson was on the show. I don't think he was a racist. Keith, what do you think?
Yeah, first of all, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton aren't racist, and Farrakhan has his views, but we all understand that people have their own different views, but racism is different. There are people of different colors who are racist. Doesn't mean.
But Joe said it's principally the white man's problem. That was his quote.
No, it's not just the white man's problem, but we all understand that there is white privilege, but it's not the white man's problem. We all have to understand the issues, but black people and brown people don't have the same advantages as white. That's well known.
All right, this next story comes from Oklahoma, but it's it's really a story that affects everybody. An Oklahoma judge fined Johnson & Johnson $500 million, and this is just the first, what a lot of people think is going to be the first installment, $500 million for the way the company marketed opioids. Didn't say they were making them badly or whatever, but maybe misled the doctors or whatever, which Johnson & Johnson said they didn't. Is it fair to blame the manufacturer of a legal product for how someone dispenses or uses that product? Ogie Overman.
Well, it's the way they marketed it and promoted it, and then after there was evidence that it was highly, highly addictive, they told the doctors to prescribe more of it. They went this whole marketing campaign just like tobacco did. It's the same thing, and I'm glad. I wish they'd have fined them more.
BJ, similar thing with Remington, where the plaintiffs tried to come after them for making guns after somebody used a gun in a massacre. But you know, it's a legal product. Opioids help people.
They do, and sometimes they're needed, and sometimes they're abused. But what we're doing is we're taking personal accountability out of the equation.
Keith.
I think they should have sued them. I think the marketing of these drugs, if they're sued $1 billion, they're probably making billions and billions of dollars off of suffering. And opioid addiction is a major problem in today's society. Just go to any small town around the United States, it's there. They need to be sued. They're still making billions of dollars.
I'm going to make you guys mad, but I'm just telling you, I don't know in a single case where anybody has forced a pill down somebody's throat.
That's what I was talking about, accountability.
They probably
It's settled, Jim.
But it's
settled.
an addiction, Jim.
You don't understand, Jim.
It's addictive, just sort of like when people take drugs, whether it's crack or whatever, it's addictive. A drug dealer will give you something at the beginning for you to take it, but then you become addicted. These are addictive drugs,
And you take
and
it
they
for
make them
legitimate pain
addictive.
to begin with, and then before you know it, you're hooked.
Yeah,
And they
absolutely.
knew that.
All right. The Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, speaking of Oklahoma, the Cherokee Nation has 370,000 citizens. They say in 1835 they were promised by the federal government that it would give them representation in Congress. Now they want it. They want to have a voting member of Congress. Do you think this will happen? And if so, should the 16,000 Cherokees in North Carolina get their own congressman? Ogie.
Well, I didn't know that happened, but I'm not surprised. I think that's a big number. That's almost 500,000 people.
Yeah.
I think they should have somehow, if you can gerrymander for other states, do it all the time.
Yeah.
Why not gerrymander to
Yeah,
have a
'cause-
Cherokee representative?
Yeah, most congressmen only represent 200,000 people. Quickly, PJ.
One man, one vote. You shouldn't be giving a special group a extra vote.
Keith.
I don't think you giving a special group. I think this group is so large that they should deserve a place in Congress. So I think the question is, do they deserve a place in Congress based on the number of people in their tribe? And I say yes.
All right, the city of San Francisco has adopted an ordinance that says a convicted felon must now legally be referred to as a justice-involved person. Is this a good policy, guys, or is it carrying political correctness too far, Ogie?
Believe it or not, I'm going to agree with BJ before he even answers the question.
You think it's too politically correct?
He's been saying it's run amok. He finally got it.
Yeah, all right,
he
BJ.
finally did.
I can go along with this if you will allow us to call the people who brought this up idiots.
Keith.
I think I'm a little different than both of these guys. While I think that the word felon, convicted felon, is such an umbrella. There are a lot of folks who've done their time, they've been convicted, they're out in society. So I don't want to label people anything outside of who they are as an individual.
Yeah.
I think labeling them as a convicted felon sets them up for failure in the future.
All right, finally, guys, a new study says that people who have experimented with illegal drugs are more intelligent than people who haven't. Guys, are you highly intelligent, Ogie?
Well, I tell you.
Yeah, he's very intelligent.
Keith says you're very smart.
On the one hand, I
smartest
have
guys I
a degree
know.
in philosophy. On the other hand, it took me 7 years to get it. Because
BJ,
I
are
was
you
so
very
ripped
intelligent?
for 3 years.
Unlike Clinton and Obama, I'm too intelligent to answer this question.
Yeah. Keith, are you very intelligent?
I'm brilliant.
Wow. Okay, well, we can draw our own conclusions from that. That's all the time we have. It's so bright in here from, the intelligence.
That's right.
Except for this. Last week it was revealed that Donald Trump had to settle out of court with a man who'd been bitten repeatedly by bed bugs while staying at Trump's Miami hotel. The man said he had a creepy feeling every time he crawled into the Trump bed. I know that feeling, said Melania. For all of us bright people here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you.